We welcome you into the United Bank Playbook. Tony Caridi along with the coach of the Mountaineers, while West Virginia is playing BYU on Saturday for the very first time. I understand that you are intimately familiar with the BYU passing game through the years, so you've studied this.
I've been hearing about it for years and years and years, going back to when I played back at Iowa Wesleyan College. Hal Mumme and Mike Leach, those guys have been going out to BYU for a long time. Coach Leach had graduated from BYU and was familiar with what they do. So they studied it. They taught me everything. So all the route trees and route combinations and what they were called, we still do some of this stuff to this day.
That's interesting. Are there similarities from what they did years ago now that Ty Detmer is the offensive coordinator? You're seeing a similar tree?
It's different now. They're going to say the same thing about mine as well. If you look at it, there's going to be so many different differences back from when it was originally put in. We're talking about Norm Chow and Roger French back in the Lavelle Edwards days, Jim McMahon, Robbie Boscow, Steve Young, the old school Y-Cross and Sale. There's bits and pieces of it probably in a lot of different offenses because they were so wildly successful. But over time, it changes quite a bit.
What's the biggest thing you want to see from your team? What's the biggest thing they have to do this week?
Well, it matched their physicality. These guys are physical. They're big. They're physical. They're going to try to wear you out. They're violent once they get to the ball. So we got to match that, but play our own game as well. There's a lot of tempo aspects of this that's going to exist. It's going to be an exciting game. Two different type teams. It's going to be fun to see clash.
You mentioned during your press conference on Tuesday that the reason you play neutral site games is so that from the fans' perspective, we can kind of come out to you, and I would imagine that we're going to get a lot of that northeast corridor coming in here to see West Virginia.
Yeah, it's a East Coast game. We've got a huge alumni chapter over in DC. We love these neutral site games, so our fan base can get there and support the Mountaineers.
Yeah, it should be good. BYU obviously will bring a lot of fans as well. Appreciate the time.
You got it.